Yesterday, we took a trip down memory lane to revisit a 2016 ABC 10 story about the unsolved disappearance of National Mine woman Helen Dymond. Today, we share part 2 of that story.
Holly Lutzen and April Lohr were just toddlers when their grandmother Helen disappeared. Growing up, their family had no answers for them as to why their grandma wasn't around, which piqued their curiosity.
It just seemed like growing up, I didn't know my grandma, and so it would be around the anniversary every year, and my mom would get kind of quiet unless you asked questions about it. So it was always usually pretty vague when we were little, like, well, she disappeared. We never we never knew what happened to her and stuff. As Lutzen grew up, family members shared their stories of Helen, the day she disappeared, and the unusual circumstances that surrounded National Mine in the early 80s. In 2004, Lutzen launched into her own investigation. I spent many hours at the library going through all the microfiche film, year after year after year of the Mining Journal, especially that year, copying all of the articles that had come out and just learning as much as I could. Lutzen interviewed troopers on the original case and obtained police reports through the Freedom of Information Act to hunt down as many facts as she could. She unraveled a cloud of disturbing events following her grandmother's disappearance in June of 1981. In October of that year, a woman was brutally murdered in her home, just a few miles from the last place Helen had been seen. A man was arrested in connection to the murder. Lutzen said a trooper on the original case believed the two incidents were connected. The man died in jail just a few weeks later, and the murder case was closed. I'm not convinced that they even had the right person. None of the physical evidence found at the scene matched. They took DNA samples, they took hair samples, fingerprint samples, and everything from him during his autopsy, and none of them matched. In May of 1983, an attempted sexual assault occurred at a house on the route Helen would have been following. The family believes it's too coincidental for such a small area to harbor so many bad incidents for them to just not be connected in some way. Just about a year ago, Lutzen received a tip about a possible suspect and brought the information to the Michigan State Police Post in Negaunee. A desk sergeant on duty gave her information on a detective that specializes in UP cold cases. The two have been in contact, but no new leads have been identified currently. Though decades have passed, Lutzen and her family are still keen on finding answers. I've been working on this since 2004. I've put in 12 years of gathering stories and information. If you don't think I have something important, you're wrong. I have important information. I just need somebody to listen and hear all the information I have.
They've given it a lot. They're very dedicated to it. I was really surprised when I found out they were into it. With them two working at it, we're hoping somewhere along the line that it's going to kick something in and somebody's going to come forth.
Helen would have been 84 next month and a great-great-grandmother. Any information is welcome to bring peace to a family who has been tortured by the mysterious disappearance of a kind and loving woman. Information can be submitted anonymously via their Facebook page. There's additional contact information there. Reporting from National Mine for ABC 10 and the CW5, I'm Chelsea Birdsall.
It has been more than 40 years since this wife, mother, and grandmother went missing. Perhaps you know something about her disappearance, but were afraid to come forward back then. Maybe you are a grandmother now, or a grandfather. If you know anything about this case, please contact police and help her family find answers. I can only imagine you would want that for your own grandchildren.